There's a moment, one that too many of us know, when you feel yourself shatter quietly inside. Not because of a grand tragedy, not because the world saw it happen, but because you've carried so much for so long that your body and mind can no longer hold it in. And when that moment comes, when the tears finally fall, when your knees hit the floor, or when the anxiety you've hidden for weeks finally spills over, you feel something more than just pain. You feel shame, embarrassment, weakness. Why? Why are we so afraid of our emotions? Why have we been taught to apologize for feeling too much, to cover our tears, to silence our sobs, to pretend we're okay when our world is cracking beneath us? It starts young. Stop crying. You're being dramatic. Real men don't cry. Toughen up. Don't be so emotional. We hear these words over and over until we internalize them like laws written in stone. So we grow up learning how to hide, how to smile through pain, how to nod when we want to scream. And in that process, we become masters of emotional silence. We wear masks so well that even we forget who's underneath. But let's pause for a second. Really think about this. If you broke your leg, would anyone tell you to walk it off? If your heart stopped, would they call you weak for needing help? Number, they'd rush you to a hospital. They'd treat it as urgent, valid, real. So why do we treat emotional pain as less than physical pain? Why do we belittle breakdowns like they're a personal failure instead of what they truly are? A sign that your soul is crying for care. Breaking down doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've been strong for too long without rest. It means your body is telling you, I need a moment. It means your spirit is asking you to listen, to soften, to let go of the armor. And here's the truth most people never say out loud. Strength isn't measured by how well you hide your pain. It's measured by your courage to face it, to feel it, to speak it, to say, I'm not okay, and not feel lesser because of it. The irony is, the more we deny our emotions, the more they control us. The anxiety we suppress becomes rage. The grief we silence turns into numbness. The fear we hide morphs into panic attacks, insomnia, isolation. You think you're being strong by bottling it up, but the bottle always breaks. It's just a matter of time. Let me tell you something you may need to hear today. Crying doesn't make you weak. Admitting you're struggling doesn't make you a failure. Breaking down doesn't mean you've lost. It means you're human. And being human isn't a flaw. It's a miracle. We need to unlearn the belief that emotional expression is shameful. We need to stop judging ourselves for needing help. Because every single person, no matter how perfect their life looks online, has felt overwhelmed, scared, empty, lost. The strongest people I've ever met are the ones who've cried, who've asked for help, who faced the darkest parts of themselves and kept going. It takes real courage to sit with your pain instead of running from it. It takes real bravery to open up about your struggles when silence feels safer. It takes real strength to break down and still rise again. So if you're there right now in the middle of the mess in your car, crying after pretending all day, on your bathroom floor, feeling like it's all too much, lying in bed with your mind spinning and no one to talk to, hear me. You are not alone. You are not failing. You are not broken. You are feeling. And that is not only okay, it's necessary. In a world that demands performance, healing starts with honesty. When we normalize emotional pain, we create space for real healing. When we say out loud, I'm hurting, we give others permission to do the same. And that's where the transformation begins. This isn't the end of your story. It's the part where things begin to shift. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked in the midst of emotional chaos, the incredible power of feeling. When we break down emotionally, we tend to think that we're losing control. We panic, thinking that allowing ourselves to feel too much might swallow us whole. We fear that if we let our emotions out, they'll consume us entirely, leaving us unable to function. But in reality, this couldn't be further from the truth. Here's the paradox. The more you allow yourself to feel, the more you begin to heal. Your emotions are not enemies. They're messengers. When you ignore them, they don't go away. They fester, they grow louder, and they become harder to handle. But when you embrace them, when you give them the space they need to be heard and felt, you take away their power to control you. You reclaim your agency. This is something I had to learn the hard way. For years, I wore a mask of strength. I told myself that crying was a sign of weakness, that showing vulnerability meant I wasn't tough enough to handle life. But what I didn't realize was that I wasn't being strong at all. I was being afraid. Afraid to show the world the cracks, afraid of what people might think, afraid of being judged for not having it all together. But eventually, life had a way of forcing me to confront those emotions. I couldn't run from them anymore. They surfaced in the form of panic attacks, sleepless nights, and anxiety that felt like it was slowly suffocating me. At first, I was ashamed. I didn't want to admit that I was struggling, that I was hurting. But then I realized something profound. I needed this breakdown. It wasn't the end of me. It was the beginning of something new. Expressing pain, whether through tears, words, or creative outlets, is part of the process of emotional release. It's a necessary part of your healing journey. Your pain has to be expressed, or else it becomes a weight that drags you down for far longer than it should. Imagine this. You have a wound, but you keep it wrapped up in layers of bandages, refusing to clean it out, refusing to acknowledge it. Eventually, the wound becomes infected. It festers. The longer you ignore it, the harder it becomes to heal. But the minute you expose it to the air, clean it out, and give it the proper attention it needs, it begins to heal. Your emotional pain is no different. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It only allows it to linger, often causing more damage in the long run. When you finally let yourself feel it, when you allow the tears to fall or the words to pour out, you're cleaning out that wound. You're processing, you're releasing, and you're making space for healing. This is one of the most important lessons in emotional health. The idea that it's okay to feel your pain. It's not a sign of failure. It's not a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that you're human, and humans feel. We cry, we scream, we rage, we laugh. We do all of these things because it's in our nature to express ourselves. Holding back these feelings doesn't protect us. It suffocates us. And it's not just about the breakdown. It's about what comes next, the recovery. After you allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, you can begin the process of healing. But healing doesn't mean you forget or erase the pain. It means you learn from it. You integrate the lessons it has to offer. You come out of the breakdown stronger and more resilient than before. Think about this for a moment. The strongest people you know are probably the ones who have allowed themselves to experience their pain fully. The ones who've been through real heartbreak, loss, or disappointment and lived to tell the tale, not because they bottled everything up, but because they expressed it, processed it, and moved forward. We are told to be strong by avoiding emotions, by bottling them up, by always appearing fine. But the truth is, strength is found in acknowledging the pain. Strength is found in feeling deeply and in doing the brave thing by letting others see your vulnerability. When you let your walls down and express your pain, it opens the door to true connection. You might find that others have been carrying the same weight in silence. By sharing your story, you create an opportunity for mutual understanding and healing. Sometimes, the most powerful conversations happen when we share our struggles because that's when we find out we're not alone. We realize that being human is messy, it's hard, and we all need to lean on each other. And I get it. It's not easy. Vulnerability is terrifying. It can feel like standing on the edge of a cliff, unsure of whether you'll fall or fly. But the truth is, without that leap of faith, without allowing ourselves to express the rawness of who we are, we never reach the other side. We stay stuck in the silence, in the fear, in the shame. But once you take that leap, once you let yourself feel, something changes. You don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to pretend to be fine when you're not. By embracing emotional expression, you allow yourself to process and grow. You release what no longer serves you, make peace with the past, and begin to rebuild. The breakdown becomes the breakthrough. As we reach the final part of this journey, it's time to talk about what happens after the breakdown. The real question isn't about the pain itself, because that's a part of life. It's what we do with it, how we heal, and how we use that healing to empower ourselves and create a stronger, more authentic life. The breakdowns we experience, those moments when we feel utterly broken, are not the end. In fact, they often mark the beginning of something deeper and more transformative. We may feel like we're crumbling in the moment, but it's in those moments that we often begin the process of rebuilding. Think about it. After the storm, the sun always rises again. After the emotional deluge, once we've given ourselves permission to feel and express what's been weighing us down, the healing process begins. But this is where so many people get stuck. They assume that healing means going back to who they were before the pain. But healing doesn't mean going backward. It means going forward. It means evolving. It means learning from the hurt and using it to become a more whole, empowered, and resilient version of yourself. One of the most powerful things about expressing our emotions and going through emotional pain is that it teaches us something crucial about ourselves, our true strength. Strength is not found in being unbreakable. It's found in rising after we've been shattered. It's in putting the pieces of ourselves back together, not with shame or guilt, but with grace and wisdom. The more we allow ourselves to experience our emotions fully, the more we learn about our own resilience. Every time we cry, we give ourselves the opportunity to release what no longer serves us. Every time we speak up about our struggles, we reclaim our power. Healing doesn't mean erasing the pain. It means transforming it. It means using that pain as a stepping stone toward a more empowered self. Let's look at this from a different perspective. Think about all the times you've seen someone go through something difficult and come out stronger on the other side. Think about the people you admire, the ones who've faced setbacks, heartache, or personal challenges, and how, through it all, they've grown into something more resilient, more self-aware, and more at peace. Those people didn't hide their pain. They faced it head on. They acknowledged it. They expressed it. And in doing so, they created a new chapter for themselves, one that was not defined by their struggles, but by how they overcame them. You see, when we allow ourselves to express and process our pain, we break free from the chains that hold us down. We stop being defined by the events that have hurt us. Instead, we become the authors of our own story. We reclaim our narrative. And in doing so, we find ourselves standing taller, more confident, and more empowered than we were before the breakdown. But healing doesn't only happen in isolation, it also happens in our relationships, especially the ones where we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and open. Often we think that being vulnerable will make us seem weak or needy, but vulnerability is actually a powerful tool for building stronger, more authentic relationships. When we let down our guard, when we show others that we don't have it all together, we create an environment where true connection can thrive. We allow others to see us as we truly are, imperfect, flawed, and beautifully human. And that's when we experience the deepest forms of connection, when we embrace each other's struggles and lift each other up. We no longer need to pretend to be something we're not. In vulnerability, we find strength in one another. The key here is self-compassion. Healing and rebuilding don't mean being hard on yourself. They mean accepting yourself for where you are, understanding that it's okay to not have all the answers, and trusting that the journey is just as important as the destination. Every tear, every moment of doubt, every breakdown, it all contributes to your growth. But there's a crucial part of this process that we cannot overlook: learning to set healthy boundaries. Part of rebuilding after a breakdown is understanding that emotional healing requires taking care of yourself, even if that means saying no to people or situations that drain your energy. It's about knowing when to protect your peace and when to open up to others. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. They are a way of saying, I honor myself enough to protect my emotional well-being. And once you start practicing this, you'll find that the more you give yourself permission to prioritize your own health, mentally, emotionally, and physically, the more empowered you feel. It's important to remember that healing is not a linear process. There will be ups and downs. You may have days when the pain feels too heavy, days when you wonder if you'll ever fully heal. And that's okay. It's part of the journey. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about taking it one step at a time, embracing the mess, and learning as you go. Over time, you'll find that you become less afraid of your emotions, You'll become more comfortable sitting with your discomfort, knowing that it doesn't define you. You'll learn to honor your feelings, to express them without shame, and to trust that the pain you experience will eventually transform into wisdom, strength, and growth. And then something remarkable happens. You start to show up in the world differently. You begin to embrace your imperfections, your vulnerabilities, and your humanity. You start to recognize your own worth, not because of how together you appear, but because of how authentically you live. True healing is about embracing all of who you are, your scars, your strengths, your weaknesses. It's about understanding that you are worthy of love and compassion, both from others and from yourself. It's about knowing that you're allowed to break down without breaking. You're allowed to feel without falling apart. And when you do, you become stronger, more resilient, and more empowered than you've ever been before. So remember, you are not weak for breaking down. You are human. And in that humanity, you hold an immense power to heal, to grow, and to thrive. Closing thoughts. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to not have it all figured out. You are allowed to take a step back and give yourself the space to heal. You are not weak. You are strong for feeling. You are strong for facing your pain. You are strong for healing. And every step you take in this journey of vulnerability, self-compassion, and emotional honesty is a step toward becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself.